In this lesson, we're going to be talking about escape sequences. Our lesson overview includes learning what escape sequences actually are, and then applying the escape sequences to the print statement. So escape sequences allow the compiler to interpret a sequence of characters under a different context, and we utilize the backslash preceding a certain character to emphasize that we want to utilize an escape sequence. So we use a \n when we want to tell the compiler that whatever we're printing within the print statement, we got to start a new line. So when I put system.out.println, our print statement, in quotation marks, because that emphasizes that this entire thing is a string, and I want to start a new line after the word hello, I do \n because \n is an escape sequence that tells the computer that I want to start on a new line. And then the word world will be printed on a new line and anything that comes after that. Just like how the result is shown over here. Alrighty. When we're printing something, or printing a string specifically, we utilize the quotation marks when we're doing a string, when we're printing out a string, because it tells the compiler that we're not dealing with a variable, we are dealing with a string that has no idea how to interpret it. However, what if we actually want to print out a double quote? Well, then we use the quotation escape sequence, which is a backslash and then a quotation mark. So when I have system.out.print, this first quotation mark is telling me that everything that's printed after until the last, or the quotation mark that's supposed to without an escape sequence, is a string, right? So this actually corresponds with this, not this and not this, because these quotation marks come after a backslash, meaning that the computer knows that this quotation mark is actually an escape sequence. So when we print it out, the quotation marks are also printed out. And where we didn't put the escape sequence, it doesn't have a quotation mark. So this is supposed to denote as well that our text here is a string, and these quotation marks are simply an escape sequence that allows us to print out the quotation marks. Now, let's say that I want to actually use the backslash. Then we utilize the backslash escape sequence. For example, the system.out.println, and I put 2 backslashes. And as a result, we have 1 backslash. So let's go to the compiler and test all of these out. Alright, so we're in the compiler. And let's test out all of our escape sequences. So the first one was the new line escape sequence. And what we do is we have our print statement, our println statement, to make sure that they're printed on a new line. And let's put this is the, and then let's put our \n start of a new line. All right, make sure to have those quotation marks to emphasize that this is entirely a string. And compile, no problem with our code, and then we run it. As you can see, there's a space between my escape sequence and the word start, and my computer, or the compiler, knows that, or takes it literally and adds that space over here. If I want to eliminate that space, we can simply eliminate it in our code. I know it kind of looks weird with that /n start, right? But that is how we make sure that there is no extra space over here. Alrighty. The next one is the quotation marks. So, quotation escape sequence. And we do that through first our print statement. And the reason why we use a quotation mark at an escape sequence is because we're already utilizing a quotation marks to tell the text, or tell the compiler that we're dealing with a string, but we don't want to tell the compiler that we want to end our string. So we use the escape sequence. So we do \, quotation mark. Now, if we didn't have that backslash quotation mark, what would happen is that anything I would put here is no longer a string. As you can see, our compiler knows that and it color codes it for us, but we want that to be a string. And quotation mark. Hello world. Then we end our little quotation with another backslash and then quotation mark. And let's add something funny. Literally every original programmer ever. And then we end that with an actual quotation mark that emphasizes the end of our string. Now I have a minor error here because I did not finish my word system, and now I have it. So let's compile and let's run it. And there you go. So our quotation marks are printed out because we told the computer that we actually want to print out a quotation mark through our escape sequence. The last one is the double backslash, or rather the backslash escape sequence. We have our print statement, and when we do simply a backslash, let's see what happens. Well, we have that thing, or that quotation mark escape sequence. So when I try to end it, it actually doesn't even end the text because it thinks that this quotation mark is ending my, it doesn't end. It continues and thinks that anything after that is still a string. So that is the problem that we have. So this wouldn't compile at all because technically speaking, the actual closing parentheses and semicolon never actually happened. It thinks that this is all text. So we put a double backslash, and then we put the quotation mark, and then as you can see, our color code tells us, hey, now this is the end of the string. And then when we print it out, we simply get one backslash. Even though we have two, that escape sequence allows us to print out one backslash. That wraps up our video for escape sequences, and keep on practicing.